everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jodie. You're probably wondering, whose channel is this? Why do I look like this? Why is my room different? What's going on? Where have I been for the last 9 or 10 months? Well, you're about to find out. So you might be thinking I look pretty dead today. Look a bit below par, and that's because I'm going to be doing Get Ready With Me, because I have a lot to talk about. A lot. Where's Jodie been? For those of you who care and like to keep up to date and were wondering, hey, I quite liked her videos, where have they gone? I'll tell you. So with my last video, I think I kind of pre-filmed it like a month or two in advance. Well, I didn't pre-film it, I just ended up not editing it and uploading it late. So that was my late spring favourites. And I remember in that I was like, oh yeah, and when I graduate and I kind of get all of this over with, you know, get a bit less busy in June and July, I'll start uploading more regularly. Let me tell you, that didn't happen, as we all know. Basically, I'll be telling you all the drama that's happened in my life the last 6 months or so, and why I never got back to filming. And I'm going to be doing a little Get Ready With Me while I do it, so you're not bored to death of me just talking about myself. We'll be doing something fun. I've got this today, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro Pigment Palette Volume 3. It's a really weird colour story. It's very strange. Like reds and blues I wouldn't usually think to put together, but I really like that. I think it's really unique, so I want to give that a go. So let's get going. So I've washed my face already. So what I usually use in the morning is a vitamin C serum, but it's actually a bit later in the afternoon now, so I probably won't do that because I'll be doing my nighttime skincare routine in a couple of hours. So I won't be using my vitamin C because it'll mess with my retinols. But this is my moisturiser. This is the Mizon Snail Recovery Gel. It's not cruelty free because it has snail filtrate in it. As far as I'm aware, they're not killed and harvested, but I think the snails run along wires in the snail farm, and then they collect the filtrate from the wires, but it's still obviously exploitation of animals. So if you are vegan or cruelty free, don't go for this, even if it is the best moisturiser that I've ever used in my life. Just don't do it if you're not into that stuff. Just avoid it. So now I'm using the Fenty, what's it called, Hydrating? Yeah, the Pro Filt'r Hydrating Prime. I usually don't really like primers, but I like this one a lot. So basically, when I filmed that last video, I was just at the end of my bachelor's degree course. So I studied fine art. I'd already done my dissertation in January, but we also had to do a final exhibition, so making artwork, our final piece. It was basically a big project that was taking up a lot of my time and money, which I explained in the last video. I couldn't make a lot of videos like hauls and stuff like that because all my money was going on wool for crochet. That was all really stressful, but got through it. Exhibition was great, really proud, lots of fun. And then in July was my graduation, and then after that, because I renewed my flat contract in June, and then I was obviously I need to get a job so I can pay my rent. I ended up working in retail for 2 months, and then I managed to find a makeup artistry job. For those of you that don't know, I do quite a lot of freelance makeup artistry on the side for magazine shoots. I went to UAL, so London College of Fashion, and Central St Martin's and all of that. So lots of connections with people, and I do lots of work for them. I ended up getting a reception and makeup artistry job at a salon. So I'd do the makeup on the weekends, and the rest of the time I would do the reception work. I started that in September, the same month that I started my master's course. So I was studying History of Art and Archaeology of East Asia, because I love my Japan and I love my art. so that was great. I'm learning Japanese. I was really busy. Okay, and I'm using MAC Face and Body in C1, but I quite like to mix my foundations. Like usually I mix the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum. What shade is this? 51 Light Vanilla. I usually mix that with everything, but I think today I'm gonna go for MAC Face and Body. Got my sponge. Oh, that was a bit too much. So I was doing my masters, but also having to afford rent at like full-time work. What am I saying? I was trying to afford my rent, so I was having to work full-time as well as study basically full-time, because the weird thing is I was doing a part-time course. If you're wondering why I'm looking down here, I've got like a little spare mirror. I was doing a part-time masters, but because I was doing intensive Japanese, I cannot express to you how intensive it was. Like, I've never studied so much in my life, and it was part-time. So yeah, I was basically doing like full day weeks in terms of like, some days I would have 2 or 3 hour lectures. Some days I would basically have 2 or 3 hours in the morning of Japanese, and then I would get straight on the tube and basically speed walk to my work. I think in the end I was basically doing 6-day weeks in terms of uni and work. So like Mondays I think I had full day of uni, and Wednesdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays I was doing uni and then work, or just a full day of work. Saturdays I was doing a full day of work, and then Sunday was my only day off. And that was like maybe like having to get up 7 AM to go to uni, leave for uni at like 8, and then get there for 9, and then I'd be there until like 11 or 12, which is when I'd leave to go to work in like an hour. And I haven't used this sponge before. It's actually really soft compared to, usually I use the Real Techniques, and it's really soft. So I'm enjoying that. So yeah, basically I was doing like 6-day weeks. Sunday was my only day off, and my boyfriend at the time was also super busy, and so it was all just a bit of a mess. I hadn't been on the course for very long, and then one evening I basically came home and my boyfriend broke up with me. So that basically turned my whole life upside down. I was like, well, we live together in this flat in London, and I've been struggling to barely pay my rent, because I'd like to mention I was working absolute minimum wage at my job as a receptionist and makeup artist. Despite providing all of my own makeup, I was like minimum wage, like literally the least wage, like £7.20 something an hour, which is impossible to live on in London. I wasn't even making my rent, I don't think. Like, I was hardly even getting by at all. This is the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm in Peach. I love this. It's so lovely. So I didn't have any savings at all, because all of my money was gone on rent and living in London. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in this like flat, which I wouldn't have been able to move someone else into, because it was basically 1 bedroom with a smaller second room, but I had too much stuff in the flat that I wouldn't have been able to get an extra flatmate in. And also I didn't really want to live there after living there with a partner. I kind of wanted to get out of that space. But I also didn't have any money for a deposit on another place. And also I was having a mental breakdown because my 2-year relationship was over. I basically called my parents and I was like, I need to move home. I had to leave London, which is like my favourite city in the world. It was always my dream to live in London since I was like a kid. So that was sad. Leave my flat, which kind of felt like home to me, because obviously I'd lived there for like 1.5 years and I loved it. So I had to leave my 2 homes in terms of the flat and London, and I obviously had to quit my job, which I'd worked so hard. I'd worked so hard to negotiate my hours to fit exactly around my course. I've basically been like, okay, I finished my course on this day at this time, and I can take this long on the tube to get to work and then work for this long. And I had figured it all out and slotted it all together just to make sure I could work as much as possible And then I was like, I'm gonna have to quit. So I ended up having to call up my boss and be like, I'm really sorry, but I need to leave London. I need to quit. Right, for brows, I have like a million different products. I have not plucked my brows. There's a lot of hairs going on here. That's just how it's gonna be. So this is the Suicune liquid brow pen. I'm not sure if it's called that anymore. Suicune Framing Eyebrow Liquid Pen 01. This is the shade Khaki, I believe. When I first used this, it was moss green, because it's the only colour that goes with my weird ashy blonde roots. Where was I? I ended up having to quit my job, go into uni, and be like, I need to defer my masters because I don't have the finances to live here anymore at the moment after this very sudden breakup. I'm having to move out of my flat. It happened very, very suddenly out of nowhere, so it was basically like, it wasn't like when you get a feeling that something's wrong, it was just like completely out of the blue, and that was that. So I ended up moving back to my hometown with my parents, in my parents' house, which is where I am now. And obviously, after quite a long relationship, living with someone, it was quite a big change. It wasn't like I'd just broken up with someone and that was it. I'd also lost a job that I worked really hard for, that I was doing something that was like my dream and that I was really passionate about. I also kind of lost my dream masters. I mean, I did defer it, so I will be going back in September, but I've also had to make changes to how I'm doing it, which means I've lost out on some aspects of it that I really wanted to do. It wasn't really just like the breakup itself, but more kind of losing everything along with it. I kind of had a really bad mental health spiral. I had depression and anxiety anyway, but it kind of, everything was basically accelerated. Like my anxiety was through the roof because I was trying to sort out all of this stuff happening to me and kind of all my dreams coming crashing down. Obviously losing someone that I really loved and all of that comes with a normal breakup. And leaving the city I loved, and that was like my dream to live there like my whole life. It felt like I was going backwards after my graduation. I felt like I was supposed to be living this adult life where I'd gotten this job and I was doing a master's and all of these adult things. And suddenly I had to move back home into a place that wasn't really, well, it's the home that I've had my entire life, but it wasn't like my own, with my own rules. Suddenly I was kind of like 22, living under my parents' roof again, following all of their schedules, and my mum works from home as a childminder, so suddenly I have kids screaming at 7 AM every day. Obviously I had a lot on my plate, you know? So yeah, ended up being really bad mentally, really bad. So I ended up getting on NHS waiting list for therapy and counselling, although I think it took a couple of months before any of that really like got going, although because I was basically free all the time because I'd quit my job and I wasn't doing anything, I did get fast tracked just because I had that availability that I could do like any time. I was in like a really bad place at that point. And I managed to get one-to-one counselling with one service, which was paid, but it was means tested, and because I obviously didn't have a job at that point, it was £10 a session for 6 weeks. And then kind of towards the end of that one, I got on cognitive behavioural therapy sessions. And that was more of a group one, but it was more like, I don't want to say lectures, but it had a similar kind of vibe to being in a classroom. Although it didn't feel like boring, and it was basically like, I think there were 6 or 7 of us. So it wasn't like a huge group, but basically learning the cognitive behavioural therapy and behavioural activation methods for overcoming mostly depression and low mood. And that was 5 weeks, but that one started after my counselling one. So the counselling one was one-to-one with my counsellor. So with that one I mostly talked about my very specific personal issues and personal situations, basically everything that happened. Whereas the group one wasn't really like talking about your feelings kind of thing. It was more like learning how to overcome the symptoms of low mood and the kind of behaviours, and activating your behaviour to kind of overcome those like cycles. So stuff like sleep, appetite, negative reinforcement and stuff like that, and kind of changing your behaviour in order to change your mood. Whereas my one-to-one counselling was like talking about my feelings and my counsellor kind of chatting these things through with me. And I think it was really helpful for me to have both of those types of therapy. Oh yeah, and this is the ABH Brows in taupe. I don't know what it is with this one, but I think I got it from Beauty Bay in one of the little bundles, and I think it might be kind of dry because it doesn't seem to work the same way ones I've had in the past have worked. Like, it feels like you really need to press hard to get pigment off. So I don't know if this one's like weirdly out of date because it's from Beauty Bay. This brow just ended up weird. So yeah, I basically started the counselling before Christmas, and around that time I also kind of had like a little bit of a weird epiphany where my bedroom used to be all black with like black furniture, wallpaper that was like cream with black flowers on it, and all of this from when I was a teenager and I was really into black and I was like super emo. But with my depression and horrible headspace, I was like, I can't deal with this, it's awful. So I basically got refunded from my first term of uni because I deferred before reading week, and I kind of was like, I have a year to save up this money again, and it's not even like, it's like a term's worth of money. So I ended up using that money on redecorating my room, this room right here, to be more like the room that I kind of had when I was at uni and all of that kind of vibe, just because I needed something positive and light, and the old room was just so dark, it was really depressing. Okay, this is Maybelline Brow Precise Fibre Filler. I really like this because I have hardly any brow hairs. So yeah, so I ended up like redecorating my room. It took about less than a month. We did it all ourselves basically, like stripped the wallpaper down. Most of the work I did like myself because my parents are quite old. My dad was working during the daytimes, my mum was also working, and she helped me out the most, kind of showing me how to do everything, and then I'd get on and kind of do it. So stripping the wallpaper, sanding everything down, like the wood, and painting all the walls and the ceiling. And I got new flooring, so I used to have like a grey carpet, but it'd been in the room for 10 years. I used to have these big heavy wardrobes, so under the wardrobes it was like completely different to the rest of the room, and because I was kind of reorganising everything I couldn't really keep the carpet because it was just like really trodden in and dirty in some places, and then like new in some places where it'd been like underneath things. So I ended up finding a really cheap laminate floor, so I've got like grey laminate floor, and I learnt how to put all of that in. So me and my dad kind of did that together, and then when my dad was finished for the day I'd end up like being like way too excited and like putting in a few more slabs while I could. So I ended up like doing quite a lot of that as well, and he mostly did like the cutting and I did all the placing and a bit of hammering. Had a couple of IKEA furniture bits, like these drawers back here I had from the flat, and a bedside table and Alex drawers that I keep my makeup in. So I had a couple of things that I've kept, and then I also got new things. I was trying to keep it within the certain budget of the amount of money that I got back from uni and could re-save up. So yeah, I did all of that. Then obviously there was Christmas. Then after Christmas I had the rest of my therapy and counselling. Shape Tape in Fair. Although I think this is the old Fair shade because I know that they added a load more shades like after the initial launch. And I mix it with the Creaseless concealer, which now has new packaging, and new shades. So this used to be something, but I mixed those two together because this one's it's alright actually, it's like a good thing, but this one has a really dewy finish which I like better than the like really matte full coverage of the Shape Tape, at least for like my general face, because I've got quite dry skin. So I mix those two together and then I spot conceal with that. So yeah, then I just kind of finished off my therapy courses. By then I was feeling a bit better mentally, although it was still difficult. With the breakup, it wasn't like really antagonistic, it was very like understanding, even though it was from his side and like it was his want to like break up, but I understood why in a sense, even if I didn't totally, I don't know, like agree? Do you agree? But we decided obviously to stay friends and be in each other's lives and all of that. I haven't had a lot of like bad breakups. I think I've had like one like really bad breakup, but that's because he was a horrible person. But most of my relationships where the person has been like nice, I've never really had like a horrible breakup with someone. So we decided to stay friends because we were like really important to each other and all of that, but he just personally couldn't continue the relationship for his own reasons. So we're still friends now and still chat occasionally now that many months have passed. Yeah, so I started getting in a bit of a better mental health state. Obviously therapy helped a lot. Therapy, very good. Cognitive behavioural therapy. I think it's one of those things where it's really hard to motivate yourself to start doing what your therapist actually tells you to, but as soon as you do, you see differences in how you're feeling. Like you can't just kind of wallow and kind of say that you can't do things, because unless you do it, you're not going to see differences. And it's hard to kind of stay into that routine, but once you do, you get all of the positive reinforcement of everything, and you kind of get slowly better. But it does take like 2 or 3 months of like constant improved behaviour and routines before you start feeling better. It's not like an immediate thing. And I was put on antidepressants as well, so I kind of had the combined effects of that. Oh, under my eyes is looking really dry today and I don't know why. And now using the NARS loose powder. So yeah, cognitive behavioural therapy and counselling really helped out. I would still consider myself depressed, just not as horribly bad as it was like 4 months ago. Now I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. I just have like the little mini that I got for free in something, don't remember what. Oh, I always use too much. You only need like the tiniest amount, but it squeezes out so fast. Like I have these tiny dots and that's just too much. Oh, I've gotten this one everywhere. It just goes to show what happens when I can't see what I'm doing. So yeah, and then I basically got a message from kind of old family friend that my mum used to like work for and childmind for, and she basically asked me if I wanted to do some casual work with her, and I was feeling a bit better. Right, eye time. Just really love that colour story. Like, it's so interesting. Just don't know what to do with it. I'm going to take my Sigma E35. I think I'm going to go into this one, B3. Here we go. So yeah, she basically messaged me, asked me if I wanted some casual work, and I was like, yeah, I love some casual work. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at the moment. And I got discharged from both my therapies because they basically came to the end and I wasn't in like a bad state anymore. But I do have like the option of re-referring myself if I feel it's necessary. And I've been going back up to London again quite a lot since New Year, which I avoided for a really long time kind of before Christmas I didn't go back to London at all, just because I really wasn't ready kind of after everything that happened. But I've been going back a lot and seeing my friends, which has been really positive and really nice. Taking my Sigma E40, I'm gonna just dip it really lightly in the pink and kind of go over it a bit. So yeah, that is basically my life since my last video. My exhibition, graduation, searching for jobs, working, being really busy, doing my masters, and then quitting all of that because I had to, moving back home, redecorating the room, working on mental health, and yeah, that's basically it. So I kind of finally got to this place now where it's kind of made me a bit sad and emotional talking about it all in this video, but I have gotten to this place now where I'm just a lot happier, or at least a bit more functional than I was to start with. And I'm doing like that casual work, making a little bit of money, although still not enough to be spending a lot. And yeah, so I'm kind of hoping to get back into studying some Japanese here at home, just ready for September. Plan is to do a bit more makeup work, kind of build up on my skills before I go back to London. And now that I've got lots of free time and I'm feeling better about myself, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready to kind of put myself out there again, like in terms of YouTube and life, because it can be scary to like be on YouTube. Like I get really scared whenever I film anything. Okay, now I'm going into C3. This one, which is kind of like a fluorescent pinky red. I don't even know if I'm doing the right thing here. Ooh. But yeah, so that's basically where I've been since spring last year. So yeah, quite a lot of drama. I wouldn't call it drama, like it's just a lot happened to me. My life kind of got turned upside down and I had a lot to deal with, but I've kind of come to terms with everything that's happened to me and I'm working through it, making some progress. And I wouldn't say I'm like totally better and totally cured, but I'm definitely like moving on with my life. Everyone kept kind of saying to me that they were like really shocked with how well I dealt with things. Like in the first week, immediately after kind of being told that I would have to, oh you know, you're being broken up with, you live together. Like that obviously means something's got to happen there. And I don't think he really thought it through, but I was immediately like, right, time to look up everything that I need to possibly do. So like 2 days later I'd already contacted all my tutors and deferred my course and all of that. By the end of the week I'd contacted my boss, and then my parents came up with a van, and that was that. So yeah, basically I still kind of need to figure out what the hell I'm doing with my background, because I don't really know what's going on at the moment. I mean, it's quite late at the moment, so I haven't got the window open or anything. And I might, and it's just because I'm kind of doing makeup for this one that I need like my dressing table area and access to all my makeup. I can never really do it on a bed. I've just got too much going on. So I think maybe for like makeup videos, I'll probably do them here because I've got my lights and I've got all my stuff, my drawers and my makeup. And then for any other kind of content, I'll probably pick a different angle with a nicer background, organise things a bit, you know, like you do. These are nice. These are blending out really nice. I look crazy right now. What do I want? What do I want? I need a smaller one. There we go. This is Morphe GS6. I'm going into this shade. See if this makes any difference. So yeah, I'm thinking now I'm probably going to do a little bit more makeup content just because that's what I like, enjoy that a lot, but I'm still going to do like all my cutesy stuff. It's quite hard because I feel like I've got a lot of brands, life brands. What's my brand? I like cute things, but I also like lots of different vibes. Gonna do a little bit more makeup content just because I have the makeup and then I don't need to be doing like hauls and buying things, which I can't really afford at the moment. yeah, I might get back on Twitch. These are very lovely shades. I love these cherry tones. I'm bringing up quite high because I've got big eyes and a lot of space. Too Faced glitter glue. I noticed recently I've got this problem where I just stare at my viewfinder too much. So if you notice me doing that, I'm really sorry. So now I'm taking A2, this one, and taking that with a finger. It's not as opaque as I thought it would be. It's more like a glitter topper than a full shadow. I might get some more of that pink just to go around it. Yeah, that's a bit better. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? It's got a lovely reflector. Very peachy, very pretty. Oh, it's very nice. JS12 under the eye. I have so many creases in my eyes, it's really annoying. Oh, I've gone full out. We need a concealer touch up in here. A little bit less crazy, although I always seem to do crazy. I'm gonna try and deepen up the crease anymore. I feel like it's not quite as different to the transition as I want it to be. Hello. Thank you. My dad's just brought me a takeaway. Maybe living with your parents isn't so bad. Can't judge me for eating food while doing my makeup. I'm hungry. The last shade I'm taking is a little highlight shade, A1, for the inner corner. Ooh, that's got a really nice pink reflect. It's a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be. Do a bit up here, where all my stray hairs are. For blush, I'm going to use the Hourglass Diffused Heat, just because this one's a bit more of a red tone. Hakuhodo brush. Don't remember what it's called. I bought it in Japan. Don't even remember the price, I just went for it. Glitter has gotten a little bit everywhere. Kind of wish this pulled a bit more pink. I look like a clown right now. I also have new Fenty bronzer, which I haven't used yet. We're gonna give that a go. And for highlight, I'm using the Fenty highlighter in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. I should remember that because I use this like every day. I've almost hit pan on this one. Mascara on! Yeah, I'm gonna leave my lips off for now because I'm about to go and have dinner. And yeah, so that's my life update for you guys. A lot has happened, but I'm doing alright now. And hopefully I'm now gonna be uploading again. Fingers crossed that I managed to do it. Because I know I'm a bit unreliable, but I'm working on it, and that's what counts. So yeah, this is what I've got on my eyeballs. Hope that's alright. Bit wild, bit crazy, but that's my style. So if you guys are watching this, thank you for sticking with me. I want to do a what I got for Christmas video, even though it's like February now and I don't remember what I got for Christmas. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and if you are going through something similar to what I did, bad mental health or just lots of dramatic horrible things happening, feel free to reach out to me. I can give you some advice. Really, I would just recommend like finding a kind of safe space and taking away unnecessary stress, and definitely therapy if you can, but otherwise kind of reaching out to the people around you, having a good support network is really helpful. My parents really helped me out a lot, and my friends. It was a really tough time for me, but here I am, got through the other side. So that's what matters really, getting through, and you'll be okay in the end. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Just lost my slipper. Oh. I need to get a new microphone. This one is not doing it for me. Stop it. Is this wonky? This looks wonky. Okay, you guys just get a wonky video for today. Okay. Anyway,